Hello all, it's February 27th, and just periodically I want to remind us all what we're doing here. I'm taking the this 1 year Bible in the NIV version, and I'm just going through the readings each day, and making a few comments where I can, trying to keep it under 4 minutes, probably even at around 3 minutes is my goal. But these are kind of just thoughts inspired by what we're doing on that day or reading from that day, sometimes making connections maybe between the Old Testament passage and the New Testament passage. Originally, these were intended for my four boys, just to be something they can hold on to and maybe come back to at different times in their lives and see. Um, but Others are welcome to watch over our shoulders in this as well. So my thoughts aren't written down. They're nothing that I've really prepared ahead of time. It's just kind of my knee jerk reaction to what we're reading in that day. So sometimes not all that deep for sure. But today, as we're looking at Mark chapter 9, I saw something that I thought was interesting and wanted to make a few comments on it. Do a lot of teaching on the Bible, and one of the things that I see a lot in the Gospels in particular, and something I talk about with my students, is the fact that these are by nature selective in what they present to us. So each of these authors has a lot of material in the life of Jesus that he can pick and choose from. John tells us that in his at the end of his book in John 20 verse 31 that Jesus did many other things that were written that are not written in here, but these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God, and that by believing you might have life in His name. And so each of our authors is picking and choosing the things that they want to present to us that do the best job of presenting Jesus as He was. So when I come to a passage like Mark 9, it seems like there's a lot of up and down in this back and forth that's going on in here. Almost seems like it's an emotional roller coaster, certainly for Jesus, as he's interacting with his disciples and with people who are looking for miracles from him, and people who have faith, people whose faith is struggling. And seems like, man, what an up and down emotional journey that must have been for Jesus. But I also have to remember that these things are, though they're true, they're also just representative, that these are the kinds of things that happen on a daily basis with Jesus. But they are also kind of condensed together, right? They're not all of these things happen in the space of time that it takes to read this. So we can read it in, a 5 minute period where maybe these things are happening over hours or days or weeks or even months of Jesus's life. So I think that the authors are doing a good job of representing what Jesus's life was actually like, but they're also condensing that and picking and choosing things that are those representatives for us. So as we come to this passage in Mark 9 today, he says at the beginning, "Truly I say that there are some who are standing here who will not taste death before they see the kingdom of God has come with power." And then some of his disciples in the next paragraph are taken up onto the mountain, and Peter and James and John go with Jesus and see the transfiguration there. They see Elijah come down and the opportunity, and Moses there as well, and they see Jesus in all of his glory. And they go down from the mountain, and then eventually Jesus is going to say to unbelieving generation, verse 19, "You unbelieving generation," Jesus replied, "how long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy to me." And so then later on, Jesus also has this man of this the father of this boy say to them, I believe, help my unbelief in the same space of time too. So it's the same verse 25. Immediately the boy's father exclaimed, "I do believe, help me overcome my unbelief." So there's this back and forth of faith and lack of faith and needing to see signs and wonders, but also just believing Jesus for his word. And I think that's the normal experience that Jesus has, and it actually reflects a normal experience in our life too. There's a lot of up and down, a lot of back and forth in our strength of faith in our lives. And Jesus, I know, knows of that and sees that in us. So let's come back to more tomorrow.